Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be talking about the Yoshino, the premium tier 10 super cruiser. So, believe it or not, I actually got this ship from operations, which is kind of insane because, well, you can only get the tier 10 ships from 5-star operations and the chance is usually pretty low. So that was very surprising. Speaking of operations, so far I've for the premiums I've gotten, I believe I've gotten a California, a dupe Tachyon 39, and this Yoshino here. So we go into the details here. You get 3 precise aiming ones, 2 rapid reload ones, and 2 sonar ones. And you also get some auto secondaries. So I'm going to actually compare this thing to Zao because Zao is also a tier 10 Japanese cruiser. But first of all, I just want to show you the size comparison. Look at Zao, it's much smaller than the Yoshino. So since this thing is a super cruiser, even though it only has 9 guns, it's still a much chunkier ship. So we go into comparison here. Where is it? Here, yes. I have these two here. So we have the Yoshino versus the Zao. So we look at the skills. Zao gets PA2 and ADA1, while Yoshino has these 3 skills. In terms of stats, Yoshino is obviously much healthier because it's a super cruiser. So you have like 9k more HP. Your Citadel protection is better. Your Firefly is actually worse, believe it or not. And your damage reduction is the same as Zao. So even though you have more HP, you're still a very chunky target, and your damage reduction is on par with Zao, which means that you still eat a lot of damage, and your torpedo damage reduction is better than Zao. So maneuverability will obviously be worse. You move at 33 knots, and your time to full speed is actually 21 seconds, which is really bad, like compared to Zao. Zao has, I'm not even running propulsion on Zao, and it is 14.7. Am I running propulsion? Yeah, I'm not. I'm running the leg mod on Zao. Yeah. So Zao has 15 seconds. Yoshino has 20, even though I'm already running propulsion. For steering, it's obviously worse than Zao, longer turn time and smaller degrees per second. So this thing is a very chunky ship. So you do need to be careful while you're playing it. We compare the guns here. Zao gets 12 203s with a 10.6 second reload, while Yoshino gets 9 310s. So you also have a much larger caliber, and the main thing that's good about these guns is their range. They have 14.5 km range, which is a significant upgrade compared to Zao. But this is also because your maneuverability is much worse, meaning you need more time to dodge, which means you need to be at a further range compared to Zao. So in terms of the shells itself, they're better than Zao, obviously, since they're a larger caliber, and they have a 12% fire chance compared to 9%, but you do have 1 less turret compared to Zao. And from what I've used for these guns so far, if I were to describe how they compare to Zao, I would say their shell arcs are definitely higher and they're slower than Zao's, so they're a bit harder to aim. And obviously, since you have less guns than Zao, it's harder to kill destroyers because you'll overpen with AP, meaning you need to switch to HE, so that does take longer. But in terms of AP, this thing definitely has better AP because it easily gets damage on cruisers. Its penetration is actually pretty good in my opinion. Like, you can use this against like lightly armored battleships like Yamato if you hit the deck armor and other battle cruisers. Like, you don't even have to switch to HE. You can honestly use AP against those. And I also have APCS, so that helps with that. So yeah. Next, we got the auto secondaries. So you got 8 times 2, so that's 16 auto secondaries, 8 on each side. They're 100 mil, 6 second reload, just some additional damage. They have a 3.8 km range though, which is really short. So they're basically only used when you're in very close range battles or there's a destroyer right beside you. So ideally, keep stuff out of your auto secondary range. Now let's look at torpedoes. So the torpedoes basically have the same reload, close enough, but you get 16 versus Zao's 20, so you have less torpedoes than Zao. They hit the same, but they have 0.6 km longer range. So one thing I want to talk about actually I'll talk about this later, but the torpedoes are quite similar, and they also have similar angles as Zao, meaning they're mostly back focused. And yeah, for your AA, you have better base stats, but you don't get ADA. However, Zao with ADA will be better than this, so just keep that in mind. But your AA is better than Zao. Like, I've shot down, I believe I've gone to clear sky against a Haku before and survived, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, so you do have better AA than Zao, except when Zao has ADA running. And your concealment is significantly worse at almost 10 km, while Zao's at 8.82. So what I wanted to talk about earlier is, even though you do have longer torpedo range and gun range, your concealment is much worse than Zao. So this means that basically that margin where you can stealth torp is similar to Zao's, if not the margin's actually smaller than Zao's. So even though you do have a longer torpedo range, your combination of worse maneuverability and worse concealment, and considering they're back mounted, do make it hard for you to, well, use your torpedoes effectively. Because if we look at the Yoshino here, you get 9 guns, right? So that means that you have 2 turrets on the front while you have 1 turret on the back. Compared to the Zao, which has a balanced layout, Zao can easily kite away and still get at least 2 guns if you're stern in, if not 4 while you're kiting away. While Yoshino can only get 1 while you're directly kiting away, and you have to show more broadside to get the other 2 turrets off. So this makes Yoshino kind of a conflicting ship where you can either play it kind of like a gunboat focused with your guns, which is what I've done so far, or you can really try to find a way to make those torpedoes work. But the risk is that once you miss them, if you miss them, then the risk might not have been worth it, and it's also really hard to kind of utilize, because I feel like kiting away is kind of not really the meta anymore, I guess. It's been harder to get that to happen, I guess, if that makes sense. So yeah, let's just go over the stats now, or not stats, to my build. Oh, actually, let's go battle honors. So obviously you have to play 10 battles, and then you have destroy 2 enemy cruisers in the battle. I haven't actually completed this yet because I don't play the ship that much, but I think just you can tell by this is that though this thing is good against cruisers, it's not that good against cruisers, if that makes sense. Like Yoshino is, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of it's similar to Moskva in terms of how I play it, kind of. Not really, actually, you have better concealment, but I think Yoshino is honestly not the best ship out there. Like, I would rather play the Zao than the Yoshino. I'm gonna put it that way. So for elite bonus here, you don't really have an option. Just go elite gun operator. It gives you a small buff to your guns. This torpedo down introduction is useless. Same with more HP. Your camo, your H camo is actually pretty good. Gives you gun range, torpedo range, turning, and service detection. So if you actually like this ship, then I would invest into it. But since I just randomly got this ship from a crate, I wasn't really looking for it. And from what I've played so far, I don't really enjoy it that much. So I'm just going to stick to the free camos I have here. Next, for supplies, I would run the standard high-grade coal, improved crew rations, refined diesel. You could run preventive maintenance if you play this thing more like, I guess, open water, and you don't really value concealment. But I do value concealment in this thing because I don't want to get jumped, and I feel like the 3% HP won't do that much considering how weak your armor is. In terms of equipment, I would just run the standard main variety mod 3 for more precision, because one thing about these guns is that they actually are kind of precise, so that's a nice thing. Or yeah, that's just a nice thing for Japanese heavy cruisers, because both the Zao and the ship actually have quite precise guns in my opinion from what I played, so I do quite like buffing their dispersion. You could run reload if you don't like the long reload, or actually no, the reload is pretty similar to Zao. It's just 11 seconds compared to other heavy super cruisers which usually have like 13 second. It's pretty good, so I wouldn't risk getting my turrets knocked out. Obviously you want to run propulsion because this thing's propulsion is at 20 seconds, so buff that if you can. And I ran concealment. You could run steering if you play this thing more open water, but again, I do value concealment because it means I won't get jumped. So actually I'm going to check something. I don't think the comparison, yeah, with the actual propulsion mod, I got it down to 17.5 for propulsion, for acceleration. So that is better than before, but it's still not great by any means. Yeah, because I forgot to see those buffs. Oh, actually, let me check concealment too with the equipment. It gets out to just under 9 km. So that's okay for a heavy super cruiser, but again, compared to Zao, my Zao's at 7.14 for this, and your propulsion's at 14.7. So yeah. Back to Yoshino. For commander here, funny story is I actually have a level 15 commander here. As you can see, he's actually trained on the Zao, and the thing is, so this is my original Zao commander, but then I actually got a league commander here, Iona, which has some buffs that I liked on Zao, so I switched it to my Zao commander, which means I have to retrain this guy for the Yoshino. So this guy's basically just a Yoshino built commander. You could share a Zao commander with Yoshino commander because they both have PA, but I wouldn't really recommend it because I feel like Yoshino is more specialized and more AP focused in my opinion. So I went underwater protection expert. Since I know that I'm just running this only for Yoshino, I ran battlefield support, so I get my 3rd sonar. You could run torpedo alert for like a bit more spotting overall, but it's your choice. Artillery maintenance to buff your guns. Victorious charge because you don't have ADA. For the fifth skill here, you could either run Fire Supremacy, because you do have both a precise aiming and a rapid reload. So this would allow you to get 4 precise aimings and 3 rapid reloads, which is plenty. Basically means you can use them all game long. Or you could run Survivalist for better survivability, which is also valid because this thing does have a large HP pool. I would run Recon to buff your sonar because these 2 skills really don't do that much. You definitely want Marksman to buff your precise aiming. I ran Adrenaline Rush just for that DPM boost when you get low. Yeah, Extinction is not very good. Demo Expert because nothing else works here. Master Reloader definitely to get all your rapid reloads off. Or you could run Honor Seeker if you don't value rapid reload 1 that much. Your choice, but I just prefer Master Reloader. This skill. So on Zhao, you could argue APCS or IFHE because... Okay, actually that's a long story. But basically you don't want to overpen destroyers at close range. But Yoshino, you're already going to overpen them at close range. I'm going to say it that way. So might as well just run APCS and switch to HE if you're attacking a destroyer. So APCS definitely helps because it helps you pen battleships better and cruisers. So, and this thing is definitely AP focused. Where in Zhao, I would switch my ammo more often. For level 12 here, you could run Citadel Strike. I have gone a few Citadels. You could run Horizontal Deck Protection, or you can run Giant Hunter. I'm being honest with how I play this thing right now. I honestly don't get the torpedoes off that much. Or maybe this might be just how the meta is right now. I don't know, because in Zhao I do find myself using guns quite a lot compared to torpedoes. But I would still go Giant Hunter because this is still a Japanese ship. You still have good torpedoes, and they still do also have decent range. So if you want to, you might as well buff spec into that a little bit at least, because the other 2 skills won't do that much. For the talents, or level 13 to 15, you want to go Green Tree, Grease Gears because no other choice. For this level here, you could run Specialist, but your skills honestly don't do that much, so I wouldn't really mind. Armor Piercer, you do get a few Citadels on like cruisers and stuff, and so you could run Armor Piercer for that extra damage. Or you can run Precise Strike, which is basically you do a little bit of fire damage, or yeah, about 18% of your max HP in fire damage, and you get a slight dispersion buff, minus 3%. So since I do find myself firing HE in this thing, sometimes I ran Precise Strike, but it's not as often. You won't fire HE as often as you would in the Zhao. And then since this guy's level 15, I have Active Reload. So basically that's when you do enough damage, you get basically minus 4% main gun reload. So yeah, that's the Yoshino. So I'm gonna give you for how you play this thing. Basically, you want to use your concealment at the beginning to not be the first one spotted. Even though you do have bad concealment, I'm gonna compare it to the super cruiser I have, the Moskva. It's not really super cruiser, but still chunky. The Moskva here has a just under 10 km concealment, and the Yoshino here, I believe, also is around the same. No, it's just under 9 km. Sorry. So you do have 1 km better concealment than something like the Moskva, which I also ran concealment on. So this means that you do have decent concealment overall. Actually, I'm gonna compare it to a heavy cruiser I have lying around. Let's go Venezia. I'm running concealment mod on this thing, so let's see how good it is. It's at 8.72. So your concealment is just above standard heavy cruisers that aren't concealment focused, which is honestly not bad for a super cruiser, because you are such a chunky target, so you don't want to be spotted first. So definitely use your concealment at the beginning to get into an advantageous position, or basically just don't get slimed out first. And you want to shoot HE at destroyers to clap them, and the AP at basically every other target, unless it's a battleship at long range with good armor. Then use HE, or you saw them damage control. Since for my build you have 4 precise aimings and 3 rapid reloads, you just want to spam these off cooldown basically. Use them as often as you can. And if you can get into a kiting away position, use advantage of your torpedoes. Otherwise, don't really risk yourself to get these torpedoes off, because more often than not, I find that battleships these days like to run away from me. So I ended up just chasing them, and with this turret layout, it's actually quite helpful for chasing them down. So AP is definitely your main weapon in this ship. So basically use that as much as you can, and only switch to HE when necessary. And yeah, that's basically how you play it. In terms of what I think of this ship, I think it's a unique super cruiser where you're torpedo focused compared to the other super cruisers like Puerto Rico and other like Napoli. I don't know. I honestly don't know the other super cruisers. I guess like Stalingrad, yeah. Those ones are more gun focused compared to this one, where you do have strong torpedoes in the Yoshino, but you're trading that for basically weaker guns. these guns are still good, don't get me wrong, but they are weaker than like Puerto Rico or Stalingrad guns. And your armor is obviously not there, and your maneuverability is not the best. So if you want a similar experience or even a better experience, I would go for Zao if you want to focus more on that sneaky or torpedo rush play or that torpedo play style. But you're specifically looking for like a more sneaky super cruiser that still has decent torpedoes but also decent guns that can also HE spam. I guess go the Yoshino. So yeah, I think this ship is worse than Zao, so honestly it's not very good in the meta if I'm being honest. But since I have it, I'm just gonna play it and get it if you want, I guess, but not my, to be honest, I would not recommend it. So yeah, let's move on to the games now. Okay guys, so on the first game here, we're on fault line domination. I spawned in the cap near C cap, and I actually forgot to record the beginning in the intro screen, so I think I will pull it up later in this game. But the first thing you notice I do is I switch over to AP. Oh, and we're up against a Vergonia, Yamato, Nino, Salem, Hindenburg, Sommers, and Gearing in a div. And I'm here with the Howland on this wing. So the first thing I do is switch over to AP, and now back to HE because looking at how the spawns work on this map, I know that there will be at least one destroyer on this side, so that's why I want to have HE loaded. Otherwise, I would have AP loaded if I wasn't sure if there would be a destroyer or not. So right now, the Hound looks like they're going in the cap, and due to how this cap is, there's a big island in the middle. So I'm just gonna, since my torpedoes are rear mounted, as you can see, I'm gonna check some torpedoes back on this side of the island and just see what happens. Also, there's a Mino spotted. I'm not gonna open up yet though because they're not inside my concealment range, meaning I can stay undetected right now and see where the rest of the enemies are. And I think this game is quite kind of like a slow start to it, but then there's more that happens later. So I saw there's a Yamato farther out, and there's a Gearing also in that smoke. So now I think I know all 3 enemies on this flank, because if you look at the minimap, there's 4 enemies spotted on the other flank. So now that's all the enemies. Just some minor torpedo here, so I'm dodging them. And right now, the Mino and the Gearing are undetected. So I'm just trying to figure out where I can go to, where I can basically either jump them or start farming the Yamato without facing too much damage. But I get spotted here, so I'm just going to immediately use precise aiming and use my rapid reload. So for rapid reload timing, I do it at 8.4 seconds, or basically 8 seconds, and that should be able to get you like basically perfect rapid reload. So yeah, and I reloaded a fire on this Yamato, and now they're on triple fire, but they DCP'd that. So I honestly could have saved my rapid reload for after they did the damage control, but I wasn't sure how long it'd take. And since I have 4 precise aimings and rapid reload, I might as well just use them. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep farming this guy, trying to get some permafires before he goes behind an island. I'm considering going forward here, but the enemies are running away, and I need to keep backing up if I want to be able to shoot this Yamato. So I'm just gonna keep backing up. And yeah, there's finally one permafire. And honestly, against Yamato, you can probably use AP, but I did have a weekly mission for fire damage, so that's why I'm firing HE. And also, right now there's some good fire RNG, so that was pretty good. And as you can see, I just triggered one of my talents, or what do you call it, level 13 stuff. So I think that was Grease Gears, and then there was another firework, which means there's enough fire damage. So I think my dispersion is buffed now. So now that I'm shooting at Mino, I switched over to AP, but this guy's running away, so he's going to be pretty hard to hit. And yeah, that was pretty. As you can see from that dispersion though, even though he's running away, I did get 4 shell hits, which is like half the shells. So this thing's dispersion is actually quite decent. Yeah. So now we're just chasing after the enemies now, because, well, this flank's basically done. The Gearing ran away, the Mino ran away, and yeah. So I'm still spotted, which means that Gearing is most likely inside my range. I'm pretty sure Mino's behind the island somewhere. So I'm just gonna keep sailing this direction, and I think that there's a cruiser on the edge of my range. It's a Hindenburg, so I can start shooting at that guy. So I'm just gonna shoot at him, even though he just went undetected, because I'm pretty sure he's still there. And I'm at full health, so even if he opens up on me, he'll still be detected, and I can start shooting and start farming him. So there's my precise aiming, and Mino actually gets spotted here. But I'm too lazy to use lock-on, so I'm just gonna keep shooting at Hindenburg, and also they're about to go behind the island, so might as well shoot Hindenburg and then slow down here, or even though Hindenburg's behind the island, I can still shoot at Mino now. So in this game I tried to get 2 cruiser kills, but you'll see what happens. And yeah, but that's the reason I'm focusing these cruisers mostly. Hindenburg is getting kind of low, so that's good. And yeah, since my torpedoes are rear mounted, there's no point shooting. I had to give basically full broadside if Hindenburg rushed around the island, but they didn't, so there's no point to that. But as you can see, the gearing is very close to me actually. Oh, and also Salem just gets spotted, so I'm gonna pop sonar to spot torpedoes for now. And Salem's pretty low on full broadside, so I'm just gonna shoot at Salem. And yeah, I get a cruiser kill, which is nice, but I need 2 of them to get my battle honors done. So right now I'm just gonna focus on Hindenburg, try to get them down. They're turning in, so that's nice. And here's some more gearing torpedoes, so I'm gonna take some of those. As you can see, this propulsion is pretty atrocious. Yeah, I'm gonna take like 3 of them. 3 torpedoes. Quite unfortunate. Yeah, that did a lot of damage. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think I should have fired this out a bit later. Actually, I don't even know. But St. Vincent took my cruiser kill, so now it's just the minor left. Go ahead and get my battle honors. And hopefully I get him. I shoot some AP at the gearing here, but it's mostly over pens, like 1 full pen, so not that worth it. And yeah, but this is perfect for where you use HG and your PA, and even though I'm going to take some torpedoes here, as you see I do a good slap on him. And I use rapid reload to burst him down, but unfortunately I did damage con earlier, which means he did get permaflood. This guy does get permaflood on me. And they do smoke up. But, you know, I can blind fire, especially since they're space chasers. And there goes the gear. So as you can see here, even though I did kill that gearing pretty easily, and there goes the torpedoes, and I'm about to die, but the flood goes out at 775 HP, so I'm still alive. But as you can see there, even though I did do good damage to the gearing, if I was playing a Zhao, I could have been able to kill him like even maybe a Salvo quicker than that. And Zhao also has better maneuverability, which means you could have dodged more torpedoes. So Yoshino is probably the best super cruiser if we look like Stalingrad and like Puerto Rico against destroyers, but it's still not as good as like a Zhao. So now I'm just going back to battle. There's a Sommers left, but since I'm at 700 HP, I don't want to risk opening up. And also I kind of want to save my salvo for the Mino because I'm still trying to get that cruiser kill. Like honestly, I'm kind of hoping the St. Vincent dies because he keeps stealing my kills, but you know, they don't. And there's the Mino, so blind firing from behind an island. I kind of misaimed here because the Mino's actually turning to the left, so I should have aimed that better. But yeah, he just got slapped by St. Vincent, so I'm like, please give me this shot. But I thought Minos would keep running away, but I don't know why, but he's turning basically full broadside to St. Vincent. So I don't know what this guy's plan is. Probably to go around the island, I guess. But unfortunately I miss, and yeah, the St. Vincent gets the cruiser kill. So there goes my chance at the battle honors. But oh well. Yeah. But there is 1 battleship left. I believe it's the Bourgogne. And yeah. I'm gonna shoot at this guy. I'm not sure if active reload actually happened in this game. If you notice some fireworks, it might have activated, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm just gonna get my final shot on this guy, and yeah, that's the game. I did what should I do? 101k. St. Vincent gets Battlestar because they stole my kill. They stole my cruiser kills. Yeah, I wish I got this cruiser kill. Oh well. Get St. Vincent. It's a good shit. Better than Yoshino. So yeah, there's the game. I get Confederate, big caliber. I actually did 11k fire damage, which is okay. And as you see, all my damage was in the guns this game, no torpedo damage. And I did this basically the same damage as St. Vincent, but less kills, I guess. And yeah, that's the first game. Now let's move on to the second one. Okay guys, so in the second game here, we're up against some Midway, Yamato, St. Vincent, ARP Musashi, Petro, Shima, and a Daring. And my team, we have 2 guarded diamond rungs, a Shima, and some other battleship. And I don't remember the carrier. So we're on domination on loop, and I spawn near A cap. So let's see, I spawned the Shimakaze, and yeah, so I still have HE loaded here because I switched to AP here. I think in this game I kind of forgot that the destroyers spawn on each side, so that's why I still have AP loaded. I just didn't care about clapping the destroyer, I guess. But since I did spawn the Shima, I don't expect the destroyer to be dealt unless the Shima can rush the enemy destroyer. I'm not sure so well how that fight will go, so I honestly should load an HE here. But I am kind of on a flanking position right now, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm just gonna launch some torpedoes into the cap to see if they catch anybody. You know, hopefully they just do something, or at least they act as like screening, right? And I'm actually flanking very wide here. I normally wouldn't do this, but I did see that the Petro is turning in, so it's not that bad. But I don't think I should have. No, yeah, I'm turning back in now. So honestly, I don't recommend flanking that wide. Only if you see the enemies are pushing into you. And the enemy destroyer is still unspotted right now, so This probably means they're either going for B cap, which is unlikely, unless they wouldn't spotted out by now, or they're somewhere on this flank that I was about to go onto, which would have been bad because I can't really deal with the shores that well. So I'm just gonna open up against Petro now because why not? They're inside my range, you know. Might as well. No battleships can cloud me because they're on the other side of the map, and I get a bunch of semi-pens because you know Petro, well armored. But this guy is turning in, so hopefully I can get some better shots after this. So honestly, should have started using precise aiming by now, because well, I have 4 of them. Yeah, now I do. And the Shima is also spotted in front of the Petro. So one more thing I'd like to mention is I like to chain rapid reload and precise aiming together, but it doesn't really matter that much because it's still only a rapid reload 1, so your the reload buff isn't enough to get like extra salvo off, I believe. But I just like to chain it together to make all my use the most rapid reload shots I can, I guess, or make all my burst shots like accurate. So I'm actually firing AP at the Shima this game because I think I was testing how well the AP works against destroyers. But you should probably fire HE unless you're at really long ranges. Yeah, I actually did get 2 full pens there, which is not bad. But I also got 2 over pens. Whereas if I fired HE, I'm pretty sure I would have gone all full pens. But luckily I do dodge the torpedoes here because I guess I was prepared for it. Yeah, now I want the carrier to spot this guy. So yeah, this game also is a really slow start. But I'm just gonna move forward and try to go for Petro now. And since Shima's auto torpedoes, they should just stay in that A cap area for a while. And hopefully I don't deal with them. If I do have to deal with them, GHTMRE is in between me and them, so they can deal with the Shima. Yeah, but I'm still waiting for my carrier to do something. Oh, Shima's finally spotted. So I use precise aiming here, but they do turn out. I do get some full pens, but I lost a lot of over pens, so HE would have been better here. But at least I knocked out a gun. Actually, that doesn't really matter on Shima. But yeah, I didn't use rapid reload here because I'm shooting at a destroyer and they're far, so I wasn't that confident I'd land my shots. So I used precise aiming trying to get my shells on target. But they are maneuvering, so it's kind of hard to hit them. So at this point, it's been like half the battle. I'm still only at 13k. But don't worry, I'll end up doing a lot more damage later. I'll get more damage later, yeah. But the Stevie's in range, so I might as well shoot at them once because why not? And the Petro's actually getting kind of low, so I'm gonna try to use rapid reload to get rid of them. But honestly, my team might have that covered. Oh, I got the kill though. Nice. So next is a full health Yamato. Like I said earlier, you can use AP. You can definitely use AP against Yamato. You don't have to use HE. In fact, I got a Citadel here because I hit the deck armor and also a lot of full pens. So yeah, the only reason I used HE in the first game is because I needed fire damage for my battle honors. And also the Yamato is kind of broadside because when you're broadside, it's easier to hit the belt armor. So, but when they're like angled or more bow in, moving forward, you can easily hit the deck armor. Same for St. Vincent. This guy doesn't have good armor either, but my aiming's kind of bad there. But I also get Citadel on this guy, so this AP can actually do a lot. I'm just gonna throw some torpedoes towards the Yamato because they look like they're slowing down. See if that does anything. But I don't want to give broadside to them, so I'm gonna go after the St. Vincent here because also this guy's lower. How am I got a down ring out? I turn off lock on to get more full pens, and yeah, that was an okay salvo. I think I aimed a bit too high there though, because some shells went over. But yeah, this is a very, very useful skill. Learning how to use lock on, turn off lock on, even at longer ranges. It's very helpful for moments like this. Yeah, I get a lot of full pens St. Vincent, but now they're far enough where I'm just gonna use lock on. And I actually hit a few torpedoes on Yamato, boosting my damage even more, which is nice. And there goes St. Vincent. So now I'm just going to back up towards the Yamato, get my guns on target, and just try basically farm them. But as you can see, my entire team is dead, so I can only farm them for so long. So what's left is this Yamato, there's a Shima to my behind me, and then there's ARP Musashi left also, but I'm not going to spoil what they are. But since Yamato is full broadside now, my shells are actually dragging into the belt armor, so I switch over back to HE to try to light some fires. I do light a fire, which is nice. And there's like a quarter health Musashi in front of me, so I'm just gonna rush this Musashi and while shooting at the Yamato and hopefully take minimal damage, because hopefully I can clutch this up. Spoilers, I don't, but you know, we'll see. So now I'm gonna switch to AP. Time to focus on the ARP Musashi. I was considering fully turning broadside to get my torpedoes off here. and I think I'm actually gonna do that. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to get my torpedoes off, but as you'll see from these guns are very capable and can get rid of this guy pretty quickly. Yeah, like by the time I get to the correct turning to get my torpedoes off, this guy's already lost a lot of HP to my guns. So I'm definitely aiming for that deck armor to get those full pens, and that was a lot of damage he just did to me, so that's unfortunate. But this guy, is he healing? I think he's healing, so don't even need lock on for these two, just gotta launch them. I actually tried to get my guns off here. I'm not sure why, because I think it was better to start turning because I slowed down for that. But luckily I killed my torpedoes before these torpedoes kill me, and kill the Shima torpedoes, and I die. So as you can see, this maneuverability is not very good. But I do 117k, almost 118, and the enemy Shima gets MVP because we lost. So yeah, there's a Battlestar, Confederate, Big Cow. And for battle details, I did 19k torpedo damage with 6 torpedoes, which isn't bad. But as you can see, torpedoes really aren't that main of a weapon. And my team actually didn't do bad. Only the bottom 3 guys did pretty bad. But yeah, that's the Yoshino. What do I think of it overall? I think, okay, I haven't been able to show its AA off, but its AA is okay. Like, it exists. You're gonna shoot down some planes, but definitely you're not gonna get the strike off. In terms of being a stealth cruiser, it's not the best at it. It is better. It's good for super cruiser standards, but it's not. It's very It's like a bit worse than normal heavy cruisers. So would I recommend this ship? Unless you like the ship you just saw when you play here, I wouldn't really recommend this. If you want something with strong guns, get something like the Puerto Rico, the Moskva. Maybe not the Stalingrad, because Stalingrad is kind of buns. But get the Puerto Rico or like the Moskva. If you want something that's like more cutting away torpedo, can HE spam, definitely get the Zao instead. Because even though that thing is squishier, it definitely has better maneuverability for dodging. So only if you're looking for something sort of torpedo cutting away HE, you can use HE super cruiser slinging, the super cruiser like hybrid thing. Then I guess get used to Yoshino. But otherwise, I wouldn't really recommend this ship. Otherwise, and yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a wonderful rest of your day.